Okay, hold on one second. I forgot to give my doggy Elora a treat, by the way. Here, say hello, Elora, for episode 141. You need to say hello.
Elora, hey, sweetheart, how are you?
Here it is, the highlight of the show.
The highlight of the show, and the only Hall of Famer that's on, that's on is Elora.
Yes, the current only Malapert Smark Hall of Famer. Say hello, Elora. Say hello. All right.
Aww.
Let me give her a treat, and I'll come right back, and we're going to start this show hot, all right? The lost art of the hot tag. All right, all right.
Tag,
Elora's got her treat. All right, cool. So, last week we started our Malapert Smark Award Show. And we did our first award. We handed out our first award of the year for 2024. It was Feud of the Year, and the winner was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, right? So we got how many more awards today? 4 more or 5 more?
I think 4. 4 more. 4. I think match, moment, worst angle, and heel turn.
Heel turn, yeah.
Is what I have.
Okay, so all right, guys. So we got 4 more awards to pass out. Now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to the main event. All right, we got the Malapert Smark 2024 awards. So topic number 2 is our first award. It's Wrestler of the Year. And I got the voters on here is me and Vlad and Robert. All right. So this is how it works. If you guys didn't see last week's show and didn't see what how we came up with our best feud of the year, this is how it works. So each voter chooses their top 5. And then we award points based on where they are. First place gets 5 points, second place 4 points, and so on until 5th place gets 1 point. And then at the end, I add up everything from all 3 of us, and we find out who wins. So without any further ado, by the way, I've been sick. So I'm surprised that I'm even here today. So if this show was scheduled for Friday, man, I would have been an invalid. I wouldn't have been able to make it. I made enough of a recovery, but I'm still kind of out of it. But I think today's show, since we're not really doing any angles or any clips, it's just a basic fun discussion. This should be a fun show. So, all right. So I listened to last week's show, guys, and when I was going over the candidates, I felt like I was going too fast. So I'm going to slow down, because I want you guys to interject, all right?
Sure.
So remind me to slow down. So I want to go through the candidates. So by the way, for each of the awards today, there's 10 candidates, except for one of them, there's 11, which I'll get to that later, but I couldn't cut one out. But for this one, Wrestler of the Year, we got 10 candidates. I'm going to start with number 1, Bryan Danielson. All right, he had a big year. It was his last year, supposedly, quote unquote, as a full-time wrestler. So not quite retired, but retired as a full-time wrestler. I don't even know if he was full-time this year, really. But he did a lot of work. He was champion. He was AEW World Champion. A lot of people thought that wouldn't have happened, right? Mm-hmm. And because he was supposed to retire. Everyone's like, well, why would you make him champion if he was going to retire? And my argument was that, you know what? He's such a star, such a name, that you want that on your list of AEW World Champions. And then he got beat by Jon Moxley, and subsequently they suffocated him with a paper bag over his head, which is going to come up later on another one of our awards. But anyways, anyone have any thoughts on Bryan Danielson if you want to interject before I move on to the second candidate there?
No, I mean, it's obviously Danielson is a good choice. I think he
top 10.
Yeah, easily
top 10 of the year.
Yeah.
All right, so no arguments here.
No argument.
Yeah, this is, by the way, my discretion. This is my award show. I created this list. So, and then Vlad and Robert just voted based on my candidates. So I created the candidates. All right, number 2. Cody Rhodes. All right. He finished his story. He won the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, and he's been having his title run ever since. He has not lost the title. Okay, he's been putting in a lot of good work, basically. But I have my qualms with Cody Rhodes' run this year, although he did great to win the title, but since some people have been saying maybe it's been a boring title reign. But I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Or
there was a stretch of time that it was it felt very mid, his title reign. But I think it picked up. It got a lot better when Roman Reigns came back. No, at least that's the way I see it. But
Okay, well, we'll see where he landed on your guys' list later on. So number 3, kind of controversial for me, possibly, is Roman Reigns, because he hasn't really been on the show for large chunks of the year. So very part-time, but he still makes the list on the top 10 based on his clout, I guess. Also, the OTC gimmick, I'm not a big fan of. Cares if you're the original tribal chief of your family. I don't give a fuck if you're the head of your family or whatever the hell. You know?
Well, when that family is like biggest angle in the wrestling, it kind of matters. True, if he just said he was the OTC of some family that we hadn't heard of before, then it wouldn't matter.
I still don't like the name OTC. That's what people chant OTC.
I agree. So it's not the most creative thing, but it got over. I mean, it did get over.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see where he landed on our list of top 5 wrestlers of the year when we reveal that at the end. Let me go through the rest of the candidates. Number 4, Gunther. Much like Cody, World Heavyweight Champion, long ass reign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Been champion most of the year. Hasn't lost it, no? Since he became champion?
No.
Not yet.
No, he has not.
All right. Also great on the mic. He's been cutting some scathing promos.
Way better than I ever thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. High profile feuds with Damian Priest, dressed down Damian Priest. But in the end, like where we are right now, we're at a phase where he's lost his confidence. So there's some criticism about this storyline that we've been given. But
right.
Regardless, all right. So number 5 on my list, Braun Breaker. I added him on the top 10. All right, interesting young guy. First year, like on the main roster, pretty much. Intercontinental Championship run. He's lost it though and won it back, and he's been really great in the ring. My problems with him is with the booking. You know, I think the booking's been a little strange. You know, like the thing with Jey Uso where he shook his hand and then kind of speared him the week after. You know, I don't know. There's been some clunky booking that I think he's gotten out of just because he's been so great. But anyway, number 6. Drew McIntyre. All right.
For sure.
Great feud with CM Punk. Really brought out the best in Drew McIntyre this year. Okay. Also the winner of our Feud of the Year award with CM Punk. So he had to share that trophy that we sent out. We only had one trophy. So we sent it to both of them. They got to figure out who gets to keep it. Maybe
they'll kill each other first. But so good. Great, Keon. You started it. You restarted their feud.
Imagine.
Yes, thank you.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Number 7. All right, CM Punk. So the partner. Well, you can't mention Drew without CM Punk this year. So okay,
True.
He feuded.
I think with Punk, real quick, he would have been maybe higher on my list, but he had the injuries that kind of kept him out for large chunks. Obviously, he still had, I would say, a great 2024, starting when he basically had his match at the Rumble so it's been a great 2024 for him. But yeah, plagued by injuries as he has been the last couple of years, even when he was with AW.
All right, my next one is Bronson Reed, a surprise entrance at the beginning of the year.
Nobody would have thought
Bronson Reed, but no problem. No arguments from you guys for a top 10.
No, he's had a tremendous. I mean, unfortunately, now he's gonna be out for a while. But that's the only unfortunate thing. He's gonna be out for maybe a good chunk of 2025.
Yeah, well, that's not what we're talking about.
I know.
The year
I'm just saying it's unfortunate because he was on a pretty good rise. But yeah, obviously I have no issues with it.
I'm not going to argue top 10, but like if I were to make a top 10, I would say I would put him on an honorable mention.
All right.
That's fair.
No, that's true. I'll show some of the honorable mentions, and I did have to leave some tough ones out, but okay. Number 9, a woman, Rhea Ripley, first woman on the list. And, I'm not putting her in just because she's a woman to make it like even or something. Or to be fair, but I'm also not giving preferential treatment to anybody here. This list could have potentially been all women, Okay, if the 10 best wrestlers were women,
No, it
if
really
they were,
couldn't have. No,
no,
there's
I'm
no way it
saying,
could have
I'm
been.
just, no, I'm just saying, like, I would have done that. I'm saying if the 10 best wrestlers
I see.
were women,
Gotcha.
I would have put all women. Okay, so I'm not.
I see. Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not giving preferential treatment. I'm not trying to make a list of half and half or 5 men and 5 women. I'm just saying who's best, and I think that speaks volumes that I put Rhea Ripley in the top 10. Because okay, so the last one. Okay, this might be controversial. MJF. So I put him in, Vlad, because of the conversation we had on the phone, where you said you think he's still a top 10 wrestler despite the weak year he's had.
He's had the worst year of his career, but I mean, but I think it's mostly booking and not based on his overall talent. He's still, to me, easily one of the most talented wrestlers on the mic and definitely in the ring that I've seen. And the best thing about AEW since its inception, pretty much. But yeah, this has been the worst year of his career, so obviously he couldn't be in any higher than probably 10.
Well, he started out as a face, and then he came back and turned heel pretty soon. Right, on Daniel Garcia, and then he had a feud with Will Ospreay, and then he's had a bunch of time off where he's just, and then he finished the year feuding with Adam Cole. So the Will Ospreay feud, I didn't really like the feud, but they had a great match that ended up on our top 10 matches list later on. So
that's right.
I still think he put in enough work, and with his promo work, that yes, I think he's still got enough clout that you got to put him in the top 10. We'll see about next year. I don't know. Next year I might not be so nice, but
yeah.
All right.
Or if you're like this, then yeah, you probably that would not be good.
Robert, do you have a problem with this? Might MJF end up in your honorable mentions list, or you think he deserves a top 10 spot here?
I think if I made a top 10, I think I'd still put him on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
sure.
Rouge too. I forgot the little Rouge feud he had. That was pretty decent when he was a baby face. That was.
Oh, you scared me. I thought you were putting Rouge in the top 10. I knew.
He was on his way. If they didn't cut off, I don't know. They were pushing LFI for a minute.
You're about to get the horns.
Well, when you mess with the bull, you get the horn.
I can't even do it as good as Robert just did it.
Dude, Robert did it great.
No.
That sounded just like Rouge. If they need a replacement for a leader of LFI, that's you. All right, honorable mentions. Let's just mention. So these aren't people eligible to be voted for by us today, but I just threw them in because I thought they were close to making the top 10. Sami Zayn, okay. Liv Morgan, didn't make my top 10, but, great year. Damian Priest. Robert, actually, this one was you. I added this one to the honorable mentions because of you. So, but I thought he had a good year. Swerve Strickland, that's also a Robert. Honestly, I'm over Prince Nana yelling, "Whose house? Whose house?" Like I am so over that. But okay.
That's fair.
Will Ospreay, that's another Robert. So Robert convinced me to put this on as an honorable mention. But
fair.
Me and Vlad have our qualms about Ospreay. We think he could be better as just a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
A lot of the video game moves that he doesn't sell and just pops back up from, and is kind of unrealistic. So that's our issue with him. But I also think sometimes he could put on like a stellar match. So
for sure he can.
And then the last honorable mention, Robert, is the final boss. When you fuck with me, you fuck with the final boss. Yeah. But very, very small sample size.
Yeah, I don't think you can put him as wrestler of the year just because he only was there for the WrestleMania build.
No, but what he was there for was so fucking good that I put him at,
he was there for the best part. He was definitely there for the best part.
And heel Rock was really goddamn funny this time. Like,
yes.
I don't know if we talked about. We probably did, but it might have been the best Rock of his career, in my opinion. But
I mean, I think this and Hollywood Rock basically are basically the same thing, though. In my opinion, are the two best Rocks. But yeah.
All right, let's get on with it. We got a bunch of awards to finish. So, Kahan, this is me, the Malapert Smark, my number 1 through 5. I put Bronson Reed number 1, baby.
Oh, my God. Oh, good God. Holy hell.
Number 2, Drew McIntyre. Okay,
Yeah,
no
that's a
CM
good
Punk on my top 5. Gunther number 3, Rhea number 2, and Cody Rhodes I got at number 5 with 1 point. I guess I have a comment. Let me see what my comment was that I wrote earlier today. Danielson made a great run at my top 5. Yeah, he had a great run, like a lot of matches. He looked fucking tired by the end, but he didn't make the cut. Neither did the OTC. Braun Breaker was also great, but hurt by his booking. CM Punk was really good, but really, let's be honest, Drew McIntyre carried Punk.
What? What in the world? Okay, I don't agree with
Okay,
that part.
listen.
As much as I like Drew, I don't agree with that.
Well, I think Drew was more important to that feud, personally. I think Punk needed a guy who hated him, or else that feud wouldn't have worked. Also, like you said, Punk missed a lot of time. But let me just say, before I get comments, that this is a very hard list to make. Okay?
Yeah,
it's
true.
not much of a criticism that Punk didn't make top 5. He's still fantastic, okay? And he's great. But this is just my top 5. So many good wrestlers here. Cody was my number 5 because, I don't know, since he won the title, like, there's been a lot of time-killing feuds. I like the AJ Styles stuff, but it was, like, very predictable. Nobody thought AJ was going to win anything. So I put him on my list, but at number 5. Bronson Reed, man, he was my most enjoyable. I enjoyed everything Bronson Reed did, whether he was feuding with Seth Rollins or Braun Strowman. Drew McIntyre is just fantastic, man. He's just so cool. Yep. So, okay, there's my list. Do you guys want to comment before I move on, or no? I'll move on to Vlad next.
No, I mean, your list is fair. I mean, except for I don't think you could make a case that Bronson Reed has had the best year of any wrestler. I think that's the only thing that really stands out.
Hey, listen, there's really no protocols for voting here on this award.
No, that's right. It's your opinion. I get it. It's your call.
Hey, you can be completely biased if you want. I enjoyed Bronson Reed's work. I'm a big fan now.
So did I, but I wouldn't put him in the top 5 wrestlers in 2024. No. I mean, he's outside of it. Like you said, he's in the top 10, but not top 5.
Let's see Vlad. So Vlad is number 1, Cody. So finishing the story and doing the whole year as champion. Gunther, number 2, the world heavyweight champion. Roman, number 3. Yeah. And Drew McIntyre, number 4. And then Bryan Danielson with his AEW title run and end of his full-time career run, number 5 with 1 point. So let me just read your comment that you texted me before I get comments from you. You said this is hard. It's hard because Punk and Rhea deserve to be mentioned. So this was hard. So you mentioned that this was.
It was hard. It was very hard. you guys really put me through especially Gail. You really put me through this one. No, but Rhea deserved it, but a lot of people deserved it. I mean, it was hard to pick number 1, but I felt Cody finishing the story was such a big thing that it carried the first half of 2024. And he probably deserved to be number 1. Gunther, well, I'm just going to give my rationale real quick. Gunther.
Go ahead.
Gunther is probably the best wrestler in the world. Like, you just talk about, like, his in-ring ability, like, his work rate, as they call it. It's just tremendous. I've never seen a bad Gunther match. Like, even, like, with things, like, on Raw or wherever he's at, he's always putting on great matches. Roman Reigns, he's just the biggest star in the business. That's it. Yes, he's not always there, but to me, that's not really a big. For me, I don't consider that like a big thing. Unless he's feuding with like top people and he's not there, then that's a problem. But like, he's not there for some of the doldrums of the year for WWE. It doesn't bother me. But when he's there, he's always in tip-top shape, and he's always great. Drew McIntyre has been a revelation this 2024. I mean, I never really thought much of the guy, to be honest. I mean, except that he looked great, and he had a great look. Obviously, big, strong looking, but never really thought much. I mean, his matches were okay, but man, oh man, he had an amazing 2024. Love Drew, love him. He probably could have been higher in the list, honestly, if it wasn't just for the competition. And Bryan Danielson, I think I only put him there. I mean, there's a lot of criticisms that we gave, but for his run in AEW, but I think the tail end of it, the very last like maybe 5-6 months, that whole retirement thing, actually those matches were really really good, and the crowd was going ape shit during a lot of it. I kind of enjoyed a lot of it, and he is one of the great workers of all time. And if this actually is his quote unquote retirement, then I should give him some props for having at least being the world champion in AEW. So that was my rationale.
All right, let's move on to Robert's top 5.
Mhm.
Robert, the Frozen Asian.
Right.
Number 1, Gunther. All right. He's the only guy who put Gunther at number 1. Number 2, Cody. And number 3, Drew McIntyre. All right, so we all had them 3 on our lists. And then number 4, you also put Roman. I didn't put Roman, and I didn't put Danielson either. So, all right, so you guys had Roman and Danielson. Is your list exactly the same, both of you guys, or no?
No.
I think just just the order is off.
The order is different.
Yeah, the order is
We have the
different.
same names, though.
The five guys we agreed on. We just didn't agree on the order, but we basically agreed because I could definitely see Drew over Roman. Like you don't have to convince me that hard.
Right.
On that one.
So,
And then comment, the Robert comment I got from text messages, it was
also
very hard for me to choose the number 1 spot. Okay,
Oh,
so
this is number 1. Yeah, that was tough.
This is a tough thing. Okay, so Robert, go ahead.
okay.
Let's hear your thoughts.
So I tried to think of a criteria when I was coming up with the list, because this isn't when you went over your top 5 earlier, you said that these are the wrestlers you enjoy the most. I think if I went that route, my list would have looked a lot different actually. But I thought of several factors like. For example, did they have any title reigns? If they did, was it any good? Were they involved in any high-profile feuds and any interesting angles, stuff like that? So I tried to factor all of that, right? Gunther, the reason why I said it was really difficult for me to choose the number 1 spot is if you had asked me 2 or 3 months ago who's been the best wrestler of the year, Gunther would have been my number 1 choice easily. It's just the past month or so, this whole angle about him losing his confidence. It was, I don't know. Did Gunther piss off Triple H or something? What's going on here? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Why would this?
That comes up later on for us.
Why would this killer lose his?
Yeah, so it almost made me put Cody over him for the number 1 spot. But look, this whole angle of him losing his confidence, it started very late in the year, and I don't know where we're going from there, but we'll see. But since it happened very, very late in the year, I'm not gonna hold that against him too much. So for me, he still retains the number 1 spot. Cody, he finished his story. It was great to see. It had to happen, and it finally did. But then for several months after that, I thought his title reign was very lackluster and not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't get interesting for me until Roman Reigns actually came back. Then it got a lot more interesting, and it's been great ever since. Drew McIntyre. All right, if I had to give an award for who's been consistently the best on the mic in 2024, my award goes to him.
Oh my God.
He's been consistently the best on the mic.
It's a great compliment.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's crazy to think because he's for the majority of it, he's going up against CM Punk. Right? So that's crazy. For him to go up against Mr. Pipe Bomb, and I still consider him to have been consistently the best of the year when it comes to mic work. That speaks volumes of how incredible he is.
Yep.
Roman Reigns. Okay, so again, I told you for one of my criteria is like title reigns. He was the champion for the first 4 months of the year, right? And then he was involved in one of the biggest feuds of the year, of course, with Cody. And then in his absence, the fans, like you would think that they'd had enough of him after this long reign, but you started hearing the fans chant his name.
Dude, he
So
was
even
more
though-
over when
Yeah.
he wasn't there. That's how
Exactly.
over this guy
He-
is. Yeah.
When he wasn't around, people wanted him back.
Yeah.
So, he had to make it on the top 5 for me, easily. But since he was gone for a good portion of it, I did put him on number 4.
That's fair.
By Roman Reigns standards, this was a very bad year for him. But this year for anybody else would have been fantastic.
It would have been like their career year. Yeah.
Yeah. Bryan Danielson, no surprise, he had great matches. I did like his retirement run. That was enjoyable. And again, part of my criteria is, a title reign. He had a very short title reign, but he did hold the main AEW title for a little bit. So he gets points for that. And he also, the only good Jack Perry match that I could think of on the top of my head just so happens to involve this guy. So, hey, that's another compliment, right? Yeah, he was terrific this year again. I don't know how much higher he would have been if he was around for longer. I'm not sure about that, but while he was around, it was great. So there you go.
All right, cool. Thank you for your comments, Robert. Let's go through the final score. So we're going to add up every point that we gave out and see who wins Wrestler of the Year. So tied for 6th place, I got Bryan Danielson and Rhea Ripley with 2 points. Okay. Tied for 4th place, I got Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns with 5 points. All right. 3rd best Wrestler of the Year, Drew McIntyre. Oh man, he didn't win, but damn, he could have won. He was in the conversation. So 9 points for Drew McIntyre from our 3 votes. Number 2, Cody Rhodes. Oh man, 10 points. Cody didn't win. Who's the winner? The winner is Gunther. Yeah, 12 points. So here's the trophy we're gonna send him. The Malapert Smark Wrestler of the Year.
And now he should get some of his confidence back, baby.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, don't be so like. Yeah,
You're the
dude.
wrestler of the year, bro. What are you talking about?
You can do this, bro. You look at this nice trophy we got for Gunther, man. Look at that. It even says Gunther down here. Look at that. All right.
No, that's not legit.
All right. So Gunther wins Wrestler of the Year. Okay, that's with our 3 of our votes. I don't think that could be argued very much. I mean, maybe some could argue Cody, but like we said, this is a tough list to make. So we added all 3 of our votes, and Gunther came out on top. All right, I'm gonna